we have a Corvette C8 in our garage. And this wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for my friends from NC Auto and their awesome dad, John, who also owns 2 restaurants in Grand Junction. Super cool guy. He let me borrow his C8 with the C51 Sport package. And let me tell you, I made it all over town. I went up the monument, which is the canyons. I drove it on the highway. I ran some errands, and then I am in my garage and we're gonna talk about it. So first off, this is a mid-engine car if you don't know, just like the NSX and just like the McLaren. And it's really cool because this is Corvette's first mid-engine Corvette, and it definitely handles very uniquely. Now, I have driven the C3, the C4, the C5, the C6, the C7, and now the C8, and it is a whole different experience. First off, on the highway, it drove really well. Like, I was doing 70, 80 miles per hour, and I think it's because of the aerodynamics. Like, I didn't feel any resistance against the wind. This was very sharp. It was like an arrow down the road, which I liked a lot. It was comfortable, and that's gonna segue into its different modes. You have tour mode, you have sport mode, and you have track mode. And I went through all the modes, and then I went to sport mode, and I really liked that. Around town, it was a little bit, the suspension was just a slightly bit stiffer, but it was still comfortable. And this is an LCD gauge cluster, and I really like it because when you get in the car, you get this cool little welcome screen, and it's a lot of fun. I did a little video on that because I was like, this is really neat. And then I took it on track mode, and track mode is significantly stiffer. I noticed that when I was going through the canyons and when I was driving the car and I was, going through its paces, through the revs, I could feel the car was very planted. And not only that, when I stepped on the gas, like full throttle in a straight line, I didn't feel like the car was going to the left or the right. It was very planted, but I actually felt the weight transition to the rear, but it was a transition that felt confident. Like, you felt the traction, and it was really neat because feeling that transition and feeling the tires grip was a really cool experience. And I give Chevy a lot of props for that because it felt really good. Whenever I was going through the paces with the car, like, I felt the steering wheel was heavy. And in my opinion, that's a good thing because you really felt the weight of the car. You really felt that when you were in the turns and you were engaged. If it was too light, I think that would be an issue, but it's a good thing for feedback. So as far as the engine goes and the exhaust note, I really think that this car could benefit from a more aggressive exhaust. Now, when I heard the exhaust is when I full throttled it, and I heard that V8, and I want to hear that V8. I want to hear that Eagle scream, that American symphony. If this was 25% louder, it would add to the experience, and this is already a pretty cool experience. Visibility was great, radio was great, the electronics was great. One of the things I give mad props about this car compared to my other cars is, I have carbon ceramics on the NSX, and the brakes feel really good. And then I have regular steel brakes, lightweight steel brakes on the McLaren, but these brakes are phenomenal. Like, I would say that these are just as good as my NSX brakes. And as a matter of fact, a little bit more sophisticated, because with the NSX brakes, it feels good, but it's drive-by-wire. It's all, very, intricate. There's like 5 different levels, and it kind of takes away from that feeling. I really think Chevy did a phenomenal job. And a lot of people don't know that Chevy is one of the most awesomest companies, especially on the racetrack. And IMSA, the ZR1 team, or CR1 team, or whatever it's called, and they've been dominating IMSA for a long time. I'm not sure if that's the case now, but they're really great. And I'm sure that they got a lot of help from that department. The dual clutch transmission is very cool. It feels like a dual clutch. On lower speeds, you got kind of a little bit of a bump, but in the end, it's a good clutch. It's a good transmission. It's smooth. You get those snaps. It's not like the NSX transmission, which is like the IMSA transmission, where it's just glorious, but it's a great dual clutch transmission. So my thing I've noticed too is that this has like a nice induction noise like most mid-engine cars do. And I would be impressed to see if you put like a Canaan air filter or like a high flow air filter. I know people are very skeptical about those and there's all kinds of debates, but when I put one on my new NSX, on my old NSX, and with mid-engine cars, it makes a real big difference with the induction noise. I feel if you did a high airflow air filter and a nice exhaust on this, it would be insane. Like you would just be smiling from the moment you got in to the moment that you finished. Now, how do I feel about it? I really like it. I feel like it's a tremendous value. I think it looks really good. And I think it's one of those cars that you could just start modifying it and kind of catering it to yourself. Like I said, exhaust, if you want to do some wheels and, you know, the air filters. But here, John has an awesome setup. I like the black on the black on the black on the black with the red calipers. It really is cool. And this is a really cool car. So having experienced it, I very appreciate it. I have something to really think about. And this has been a really cool experience. All right, guys, thanks for watching.